Hello friends, welcome to my channel Sushant Chess Spice. Today we are going to look at the next topic, that is the steps for solving positions. Here we try to identify the things on our own. So we try to follow the steps of solving the position. We have discussed in our first part of this position solving that how we can try to identify which thing is going on based on 6 steps. So the first step is to see all the pieces. We see all the pieces, how they are placed, and at the same time we count them. Second step is to count the attacks and supports. After seeing attacks and supports, we try to see the weakness. Then we try to see the relationship between the pieces. Then we find the candidate moves, check, capture and attack. And after that, we try to imagine the position after our move and try to follow the first 5 steps. We will try to take the positions in the order of difficulty from easy to difficult. So let's get started with the first position here. White to play. When we look at the pieces, we come to know that the white pieces are well centralized. Queen is on c3, rook is on the open file, bishop is also placed near the center. If we count material, we come to know that both have 5 pawns, queen, rook and bishop each. Second step, we will see that there are particular attacks. See, rook is attacking the d8 square. The queen on e7 is the defender of the d8 square. When we look further, we come to know that from rook d8, it is going to be a back rank mate. So the weakness is of back rank and the queen is the defender. After some more introspection, we come to know that this queen on e7 is guarding some other important squares like f8 and e5. Another important thing, we see the relationship between the pieces, the queen, rook and the king. All the 3 are on the black squares. So using this color complex in mind and the weakness of back rank, white found the move queen e5. So the candidates which we could have in mind were rook d8 check. We could have attacked the rook by the move queen e3 as well. But white played the move queen e5. The queen goes ahead, it attacks the queen. If queen into e5, then rook d8 check, queen e8, re8, rook f8 and rook takes f8, checkmate. And the only move, queen f8, which helps to protect the queen and the rook both fails to queen f4. Again we see that the back rank is exploited, and after the move queen f4, rook d8, queen f8 and rook f8 checkmate. So we saw that white was able to use 2 things here. One was the weakness of back rank, and second he used the double attack with the move queen e5, attacking the queen and rook. We saw the queen was also overloaded after the move queen f8. So we saw 3 things getting used in this position. So let's look at the next position here. This is black to play. We see that black pieces are again well centralized. A quick look at the pieces and we will know that the material pieces wise it's all equal. Queen for queen, 2 rooks for 2 rooks, knight for knight. When we count the pawns, we see that 2 pawns versus 2 pawns on the queen side and 3 versus 3 on the king side. So material is level, but we see that the black pieces are somewhat active. Both rooks are already doubled and they are trying to put pressure on the d2 rook. The thing is that mainly it's black's move, and black is able to attack the weak points, that is d2, the king on g1, and we see that the queen on f2. They are all placed on the black squares again. What black sees here is the possibility of attack on the d2 square. See how the squares d2 and g1, they are falling on the same color. And white is able and black is able to use the tactics based on the weakness of the pieces which are coming in the range of knight 4. So what we see here, when we count the pieces, they are equal. When we look at attacks and supports, we see there is a potential attack on the d2 square. So defender is queen. When we talk about the knight 4 on the f3 square, we see that again the defender is queen. Also the pawn, but when the pawn moves, we see that queen g5 is going to be a double attack. So that gives idea of the combination over here. The square f3 is guarded by both the pieces, but both are getting overloaded, the G2 pawn and the F2 queen. And black's candidate moves, as we can see, easily match up here. Knight E2 trying to create discovered attack, knight F3 check, and knight into B3. So black starts investigating in the most forced move, knight F3 check. See, after knight F3 check, if G into F3, then QG5 check, queen G2, and here many people try to take on G2, but queen into G2, then rook takes G2, and after trade on G1, the white rook still remains on the G2 square. So black simply does is knight F3 check, Gf3, Qg5, Qg2, and just takes rook into D2. Note that the queen on G2 is pinned, and after rook D2, again just rook into D2. So queen cannot take the rook due to the pin. So queen into G5 and Fg5, and black wins. So an F3 check, Gf3, Qg5 check, Qg2, and just takes on D2. So after RD2, we have the move RD2, and black wins. Queen G5, G5, black is an exchange up, and soon he will manage to win some more pawns on the queen side and win the game. After NF3 check, if queen takes F3, then simply rook into D2, and after rook D2, the black rook again penetrates on D2. Perhaps this is a better chance for white, as he is trying to keep more pieces at hand. But then queen and rook can create some mating attack on the king, and this is also easily winning for black. Let's look at the next position here. Again it is black to play. When we have look at the pieces, we quickly come to know that material is balanced here. Black has 5 pawns as to white 5 pawns, and queen for queen, 2 rooks for 2 rook. A quick look at the position, and it tells that the white king is very badly placed. So when we count attacks and supports, we come to know that on H2 square we have got 2 attacks, and white is also able to control the H2 square. So we easily spot that the H2 and G2 squares are weak, squares near the king where we already have attack. The defender is the rook on H3. If the rook is not there, then it's possible to deliver mate by the move rook H2. The candidate moves which come to mind is rook into F1, rook H2 check, and in order to attack the rook, black has the strong move queen E3. So when we looked at this position, we can again say that the relationship is there. This rook is the defender. Black can try to attack the rook with the move queen E3. We see again the white pieces are falling on the white squares, and the mating net which can be possible from the H2 and G2 squares. So the candidate moves become very easy. We target the rook on H3, which is the defender. So black went on to win after the move queen E3. Things are very simple. There are a lot of variations, but in every variation, black is able to win the game very easily. The main move is rook F2. Other than that, let's look at the other lines first. If rook E3, then rook H2 check, Kg1, and rook EG2 checkmates. If the rook on H3 is moved to H4, then just queen F3 check followed by Qg2 mates. So it's absolutely necessary that the rook is eliminated from F2. So rook into F2. This is the main variation which black had to see. After the moves, queen H3 check, Kg1 forced. If rook H2, then queen H2 mates. Black simply has the strong move Qg3, which creates a double attack. After king F1, queen F2 check is made, and after the move king H1, here both the moves queen F2 and rook F2 lead to mate. I somewhat prefer the move rook F2, forcing the queen on G1. There are 2 threats of mate right now from G2 and H2 squares. So only move Q G1, and after which QH3 and QF3 both lead to mate. Now QH2, and here we have several ways to mate. I like the move rook F1 mate. Also we can do QH2 mate. And black wins. Let's look at the last position here. We see that materially black is a pawn, but white pieces are very active. So immediately when we look at the pieces, we see that white's queen is far better than the black queen. The rook on A7 has throughout the 7th rank. Knight on d5 is eyeing the e7 and f6 squares. Bishop on e3 guards the h6 square. Only piece which is not very active is the f1 rook, which can also join from a1 if required. The main relation what we can see here is on the a2 g8 diagonal, where we note that the knight coming to f6 causes pin on the diagonal. So the rook on f7 will get pinned. So instantly what we see, few relations coming up, and that too on the same color complex. The knight on d7, rook on f7 and king on g8, they are all falling on the same color. Do note that this color complex thing looks like a coincidence, but we see the combinations happening on the same colors. Okay, do note that also. Now here white has very easy candidate moves once we understand the weakness. We note that the diagonal is weak. We note that the rook is getting overloaded. It is blocking the check on the diagonal and it is protecting the knight. We see that queen is also defender of the d7 knight. So the obvious moves which come to mind are knight f6 check, knight e7 check, and rook into d7. After knight f6 check, black can simply go for the move queen f6. When after rook d7, we see that rook on f7 is still guarded. After knight f6 was not good because of queen f7 check. So here white wins after the move rook d7. If queen d7, then knight f6 fork, because the rook on f7 gets pinned. So rook into d7. If q d7, then knight f6 check, king g7 forced, then knight takes d7. So the only move happens to be rook into d7, after which white has a post mating 3 moves. Now comes knight e7 check, forced king g7, q g8 check, forcing the king on f6, and knight d5 checkmate. So from these lessons we are trying to focus how to find the moves and what steps we can follow during the middle game. I hope you are enjoying these lessons. Do like, share and subscribe the channel. Thanks for your time.